What a good girl.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Be Fucking For Real podcast. I am Selena Michelle, and this is Lilith Siren. Where the hell have you been, Loca?
I have been out apparently. So you guys are going to notice my video is a little glitchy, but the audio is fine. So I'm not going to re-record or choose a different day to record this because I'm completely over my day-to-day in life. So I don't feel like doing this again.
We
But
also are running out of days in June, so.
yeah, so I will record it. I have been fighting again, still trying to fight the sinus infection, but I've gotten a lot better because I learned my room was super humidified.
Oh.
So I finally started, because I used to open up my windows a lot more, but then it got like 95 to 100 degrees in Florida, so I stopped with the AC, and that's what got this started. So I got a dehumidifier, and I've been putting my window back open again because I'm just not dealing with it. So I've gotten a lot better.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and then I went to a Juneteenth show in Orlando yesterday. Amazing.
Period.
Because my shows got canceled, like I said last episode, but I still got to be in the festivities. And next year, I really want you to come down to see that show because it is a show like no other. Like, you need to see that show. You just need to see one of Barbarella's shows, because Barbarella's show, all of her shows are black casted shows.
Love that.
And they're all like theater quality. Like her burlesque came to perform last night, and she actually plays like she played like the Broadway version of Josephine for Josephine, and she's a singer. Like she was won awards and shit. It's an amazing show. So yeah, so that's pretty much been about it. I've just been working out and trying to live my best life, and I don't know how it's possible when you stay at home, you get more drama than if you would have went outside.
It'd be like that sometimes.
I don't know. I just like barely calm sometimes after all the medication I'm on. I don't understand. I just be playing with the gators and the swamp cats and the actual real cats in the neighborhood, and I just stay to myself.
Hold on. What are swamp cats?
Gators. That's what Florida people call them. Swamp cats.
So this whole time that you've been saying that, I thought you were talking about the literal cats that you sent me a video of, like a bunch of cats. You were sitting on a bench somewhere and there was a bunch of cats around you. So
Yeah.
anytime since then that you have said the word swamp cat, that is what I thought you were talking about. And then you said swamp cats and then real cats, and I was like, oh, I was wrong.
Yeah. Florida has a lot of as you've learned, Florida has a lot.
Florida is the Australia of the United States. And I will not elaborate further because I don't need to. You understand.
I sent Selena a video of a lovely black queer couple, and the other one was from New York, one was from Florida, and she gave her girlfriend her official first pair of lizard earrings, but she didn't do it right, and so in Florida,
wait, that's a thing?
Yes, I told
she
you.
Wasn't just being weird? You're not allowed to do that to me.
I would never do that to you.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so if you don't know, it's not a whole, like, not everybody in Florida does this thing. It's kind of like a regional kind of thing. You get little tiny lizards, and like when they open their mouths, because they're gonna bite whatever if you pick them up, then you just put them to your ear. Lizard. You do that as a kid. You don't do that as an adult. There's a bunch of stuff you do as kids in Florida that like makes sense to anybody else in the world, to be honest. And that's one of them, lizard earrings.
That's horrifying. And like in that video, the New Yorker was being entirely too calm. She was like, "Oh, just get it off of me. It hurts."
Well, because she couldn't breathe. She's literally like.
I mean, valid, but I would have flipped everything over. I would have been on the floor flailing around. Like, there's a lizard on my body. What?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, because she put it on. You put it on like the tip of your. You're supposed to put it on, like the fatty part of your ear, and it doesn't hurt.
No.
And she said no, no.
Also, I'm doing laundry, so I'm sorry if you can hear my very loud washing machine. It's almost done.
No, but who knows?
But yeah,
That was
so that's
that was.
it. That's where you've been?
I've been home and still in drama because I don't know. I just me and people. I guess I get in more trouble when I close my mouth than when I do talk. So I don't.
Probably because people are putting words in your mouth since you're not doing it yourself.
Or they're trying to put a dick in my. One of the two. So where have you been, Loca?
Listen, I would like to announce that my bout of abstinence is over.
Woo! Worth it.
Not for good, actually. I may be closing it right the fuck back up real soon.
Oh no! Oh no!
So on Juneteenth, I went to a kink event. It was a munch, which, if you don't know, a munch is just like a socialization. You just go and hang out with people in the kink scene. You get to know each other, you mingle, you make friends, right? So I went, and it was, oh my god, it was such a vibe. I had so much fun. Like, at the end, the venue that we were at like closed at 10 o'clock, so we just moved down like the little strip that we were at, and there was outdoor seating from another bar that was closed already, so we just chilled there. Somebody had a speaker and we were dancing, we were having a good fucking time. It was great. It was great. I felt very fulfilled and black, and it was amazing. While I was there, I met this dude. I'm trying to give him a name. Let's call him Cricket.
Cricket?
Mm-hmm. And I'll explain that at the end because it has to do with what I assume about him now that I have spent some time with him. Um, so Cricket and I hit it off. He's Puerto Rican and from Florida. And I think he said he was from Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
He claimed that he is an umpire for. I'm really triangulating this dude, but I do not care anymore. He said he's an umpire for like some not minor league, like collegiate baseball type shit, whatever. So he's in Atlanta for the summer. So we hit it off. We made plans to hang out Friday night. Friday night, I had a show and he had a game. So he was like, we could hang out after, we could go to a bar, we could go out to eat, da da da. I said, okay, cool. But he's staying in Kennesaw. I do not, I live like 45 minutes to an hour away from Kennesaw. So I said, since we're already meeting up late, you can crash at my place after. Trying to be
cordial.
Nice, and like, you're coming way out of your way to hang out with me. I don't want you to have to drive all the way back to Kennesaw, and you're not familiar with Atlanta like that. Like, I was just trying to be considerate. Now, if you go to the text that I sent you this morning, I'm not gonna make you do that. But what I said was, I'm never letting a man in my apartment again.
I read that. I connected to
Okay.
that.
So, just so everyone understands where this is about to go. So, Friday night, we go out to eat. We have a good time. He comes back to my place. We have a good time. And it's whatever. Nothing too crazy. Although, when we were walking back to our cars, before, when we left the restaurant and we're going back to my apartment, he was just going to follow me. And before we got to our cars, he was just sort of saying something along the lines of, if everything goes well, maybe I can stay with you a few times during the week when I have games, um, so that I don't have to pay for a hotel. Mind you, he had been explaining to me that his job is paying for the hotel, so I don't really understand what you mean by so you don't have to pay for a hotel. But I just let it go because I'm like, we're not even there yet. We haven't even finished hanging out the first time, so I'm not even paying that comment any mind. So I just, whatever. So we, like I said, we go to my house, we have a good time. Yesterday morning, he was like, "Oh, I have to go check out of the hotel, but I'll come back and we can hang out before I have to go to the game that I have tonight." And I was like, "All right, cool. Sounds good." I did initially think it was a little bit odd that he was just assuming that he could hang out with me all day yesterday, but I didn't actually have anything to do, so I was like, whatever, I get to have sex all day. Cool. Um he left, and maybe 20 minutes later I went out to run some errands, we went grocery shopping and did a couple of things, whatever. So I texted him and I said, "Hey, let me know when you're heading back this way so that I can make sure that I'm home because I stepped out." And he said, "Okay, cool, I got you." I was gone for probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. No, oh, I'm heading back, nothing. So I get home, and at this point I'm tired, so I'm like, I'm gonna take a nap. So just call me when you get here so that I can let you inside. Because also, he left, but he left his stuff here. Like his bathroom stuff, he left his backpack and some other stuff. So I'm like, I'm going, I'm gonna take a nap, call me when you're here. And he said, okay. He's like, well, I'm getting my hair done now, so it probably won't be for a while. And I was like, all right. And that just pissed me off because why are you treating my house like a hotel? You said you were going to come back here and we can hang out. And mind you, I didn't particularly want to spend the day with him anyway, but
Right.
you set an expectation and then just fucking disappeared. And now I'm left babysitting your shit. What if I had other things to do? What is wrong with you? The audacity. So, whatever. I went to sleep. I took a 4-hour nap, and this man still was not here when I woke up. Probably an hour after I woke up, he was like, "Oh, hey, I'm heading back to your place now," and I was like, "All right." And then he called me because I guess he got lost on the way because a lot of times GPS will tell you it's the apartment complex right next door to mine and not mine. So I was giving him directions, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, I brought you something from Taco Bell." And if you don't know me, or if you do know me, you know that I am very allergic to dairy. It triggers my chronic illness and I will end up in the hospital for at least 3 days. So he was like, "Oh, I got you something from Taco Bell." And I said, "Does it have cheese on it?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, I can't eat that." And he was like, "Oh, well, it's the thought that counts." And I was like, if it was the thought that counted, the thought would have been for you to call me and ask what I wanted.
I mean, yeah.
But whatever. So he comes in, and at this point, I was already on the fence about whether or not I wanted him to even come back after the game, which was what we had sort of discussed earlier. But I was also like, well, now I feel bad because he just checked out of his hotel, and now I don't know that he has somewhere else to go tonight. And so I felt bad, leaving him, oh, you can't stay here, and then he has nowhere to go. And in hindsight, I should have just done that and
not get booked.
He could have figured it out. He's a fucking adult.
And a stranger.
But, yeah, but I'm a nice person. So
you know, when I go to make our flip for this, I'm gonna rewind last episode and rewind it, edit it to. I learned my lesson.
Listen, that was different though, because then we were talking about me. See, then we were talking about where I was cricket in this situation, where I was the stage 5 clinger. I'm not the stage 5 clinger. I needed to get this man off of me.
I know, but
So,
back. Not. I'm just talking about the whole like the fresh thing with the whole getting yourself in situations thing.
I mean, I had the upper hand here though. He is the dumbass. But anyway, so and he also like he was like, oh, when I come back I'll buy us food and whatever. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get food. I'm gonna get, a
Yeah,
nice cat licking, because, and I will say that part of it was very good.
good. You just
So
thing out of that.
yeah, so he comes back, but before he comes back, I let him know, hey, and because I had texted one of my books of besties, Bree, and I said, this guy is like, he's I don't want him here tomorrow, kind of thing. And she
Mhm.
was like, well, just let me know and I'll send you a voice note pretending to be like hysterical so that you have an out.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So also last night, he chews so loud.
That's a deal breaker for me.
Oh my God.
Deal breaker for me,
I
bro.
wanted to throw him out the window just off of that because it was like,
Stop it. Stop it.
sir, sir, what are we doing right now?
I used to have a
But
DM
anyway,
that did that while I was driving.
I can't stand it. I've never heard somebody chew that loud. Even like little kids don't chew that loud.
I have. I used to have a driving instructor in high school that literally would order donuts every morning and be like, and like in every morning next to me while I was driving. I almost drove us off a cliff twice.
Yeah, right. Like
That's not even an exaggeration. I almost drove us off a fucking bridge
well,
twice.
and the thing is, like, I have such a hard time explaining that to people in the moment because, like, you're eating. It's not your fault that your mouth does this. But this seemed very excessive.
No, that's your fault. Your mouth does that. You can be trained not to do that.
But okay, so that's beside the point. But so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We have a good time ish.
Okay.
And then, but I told him, hey, before he got to my house, I said, hey, I have to go somewhere in the morning. My friend is dealing with something and I have to leave. And he said, okay, what time? I said, like 9:30. He said, okay, no problem. So this morning, it's like 8:30 and I hear him like shuffling around in my bed, like moving around. And I said, oh, perfect. So he's going to get up and get ready and get the fuck out of my house. No, he did not.
Oh.
He sat on his phone and then laid the fuck back down. And I was like, bro, what is happening? So then I got up, turned on my shower, and I walked into my room and I sent a voice note to Bree and I said, hey, I'm getting ready right now. I'm about to take a shower and then I'm going to start getting ready to head to you. And so then I hop in the shower and I'm in the shower for like 10 to 15 minutes. And I get
Mm-hmm.
out and this man is still sitting in my bed doing nothing. He has not moved an inch, not done anything to start getting his stuff together, nothing.
One, and we're back.
All right. So, I had gotten out of the shower and he was still sitting on my fucking bed. He wasn't doing anything. Still sitting in the same fucking spot. He hadn't done anything to start like getting his stuff together or anything like that. And I was like, what the actual fuck? And so, um, I texted her and I said, yo, he's still just sitting on my bed. So she sent me a voice note and she's fucking hysterical crying. And she's like, okay, just like, if you can just hurry up, like, as soon as you can get here, like, I can't be alone today. Like, just fucking sobbing, dude. Just free. I love you so much. I love you so much. And the award goes to, like, amazing. And so, because as soon as he fucking heard that, he got up. He started moving his shit around, getting his stuff together, and I was like, oh,
You think I'm
like, I don't understand why it took all of that when I told you you had to leave at 9:15 or like 9:30. Like, what are we doing? But then again, he's moving, but he's like dragging his fucking feet, like moving so slowly, like trying to drag it out. Bro, I have somewhere to go. Get out of my house. So then at one point, at this point he was still sitting on my bed and I had just come out of the bathroom and he's like, "Oh, you know something else I noticed that we have in common?" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "We both don't have headboards."
no in the podcast, yo.
Bro.
We're done. We're done. We're done. We're done.
Bro.
Okay, so we're done. I'm done with this podcast.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, what in the June has it been with these men? Oh,
And you know what's crazy? It gets worse. I said,
keep it going. I'm okay.
so so then um so I'm like, okay, whatever. And then at that point she had sent me the voice note, so he starts moving around, getting his stuff together, whatever. And then I was doing something. I was charging something. Oh, I told her, I was like, "Oh, let's go to the gym," because initially I was just gonna leave and go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had to charge my headphones, and then after this I was too exhausted to do anything but lay in my bed.
Right.
So but so I voice messaged her and I said, "Hey, let's go to the gym. I'm charging my headphones right now, but I'll meet you at the gym and then we can go to your house or whatever." And she was like, "Okay, no problem." Um, but then again, he's still just like, he got his stuff together, but he's just like sitting on my bed or just standing around. And I'm like, "Bro, leave." Like, I think he was waiting for me to leave so that we could leave together. No, we're not doing that. Leave.
Uh-huh.
So then I was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to make it like she's coming here. So
Mm-hmm.
he needs to leave before me." So I'm like, "You know what? Why don't you meet me here and I'll drive us to the gym?"
Mm-hmm.
And then I texted her and I said, "Send me a voice note saying that you're going to be here in 15 minutes." And she's like, "Okay." So she sent me a voice note with that.
Same tone. Yeah.
Still, this man is not fucking moving. So I hit him with, "So what you about to get into? What you about to do?" And he was like, I think I'm just gonna do like Uber Eats or DoorDash for a little while, and then I'll go to the hotel and check in. Maybe they'll let me check in early, and then I'm just gonna hang out until, it's time for me to go to my game." I was like, "Okay,
Bye.
so fucking get a move on." And then he didn't really do anything, and I said, "Okay, are you ready to go?" And he was like, I, Lilith, I shit you not. He said, "Not really, but." he said, "No." He said, "Not really, but I know you have something to do, so." And I was like, "Yeah." I like, when I tell you I'm not making this shit up, like,
You literally can't.
I
Can't make the shit up.
hand on the Bible, like, I'm not making this up. And he fucking so then I literally had to walk him out, and then he walked outside, I locked the door and I walked away from my door and I go, "Jesus fucking Christ." Because, like, what the fuck? So then his car, you know how my complex is. You can see the parking lot from my window. So I'm looking out my window and I go to watch him leave, to make sure that he leaves. Why this man, he sat in his car for like 5 to 10 minutes and then he left and went over to the other, like around the area where that like field is,
Yeah.
like in front of that other apartment, in front of that other building,
Yeah.
and parked over there behind a car so that I couldn't see it. And I was like, that's fucking weird. So I gave it like 15 minutes, ended up being like 30. And then I was like, let me go see if he's still there. So I went and I took out the garbage. And um I saw his car still sitting there. And I was like, bro, and mind you, at this point, 45 minutes had passed from when he left.
Was he waiting for her?
I don't know. So I get back inside and I text him. I said, "Are you still sitting in my parking lot?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting to get an order from Uber so that I can go pick it up." I said, "Wouldn't it be more effective if you went to a restaurant and sat in their parking lot?" I said, "Also, I'm not gonna lie, this is fucking weird. You moved your car from a place where I could see it to somewhere that I couldn't. The only reason that I saw it was because I went over that way. That's fucking weird, dude." And he was like, "Oh, my bad. I promise I wasn't trying to be weird." Yeah, that's what a fucking weirdo would say. So then he's like, "I'm leaving right now anyway. I got an order." Oh, so conveniently, now that I said something, you're leaving.
It doesn't matter. He's like at that point. I've been like, what?
Right. No, I didn't respond to that, but just like, that's fucking convenient. So then
That's suspicious.
he he like 20 minutes later texted me. He's like, "I just want you to know that I really appreciate you letting me stay with you for the last couple of days." Mind you, I only verbally agreed to 1 day. He sort of just forced me into the second day.
Jesus Christ.
And that's my fault because I get afraid of setting boundaries sometimes.
You need
But
strangers.
but I don't understand. So I blocked him. And then I told the organizers of the event that he was giving hobosexual vibes. And they were like, "Okay, well, he's banned." And they were like, "We were actually going to reach out to you because we saw you guys talking when we were leaving." And he was giving off really weird vibes in general. Like, he just seemed really desperate for like sex specifically. And like, we wanted to make sure that you were okay. And I said, "Oh, that's crazy."
You should have reached out. It would have validated my point to put him away.
Well, I mean, it validated it anyway, because at first I was feeling bad that I blocked him because I was like, maybe he wasn't actually being weird and I was overreacting. And I was like, no, he was being fucking weird.
You need to get back in that Atlanta Is This Your Man group and do some searching.
That nigga is from Florida.
We'll join the Florida one. Maybe he's in that one.
That's actually a good idea. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my camera off for a second. Because I'm making banana bread and it's done. I need to take it out of the oven. Oh no, I dropped a bunch of things.
Oh Lord. So, I will segue into the next point.
Yeah, that's fine, because that was the end of that story.
Okay, so while my lovely co-host is making her little banana bread, this week was my choice. We decided to swap things around because my book was obviously shorter because and it we need Selena needed to read her book, or needed more time to read her book. So this week, I chose the Jock series, by Arden. It's the complete series. Each book is very, very short, so you can literally read the whole entire book series very quickly.
I read it in one work day. Or maybe like a day and a half.
Yeah, I read it in a whole day. Oh, hold on, your camera's now not on at all.
What?
Yeah. Just reset it again. There we go. You're back.
Okay.
Yes. So, and like we said last week, kind of repairing. We decided to celebrate Juneteenth and Pride together. We're gonna do queer books and Black movies because one, we're gonna we were gonna review Sinners regardless. We had to. Two, for me personally, one, it was gonna be harder for us to find queer Black books, dark romance books, and
Yeah.
on top of that, like we had to build in the same thing, Black media, because again, it is so important that we're represented on the large scale. So it would have been better to do. So starting with the Dark Jock series this week here.
I'm so excited to talk about this book.
So with the books, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's technically 6, but like I said, you can finish it in a day. It's kind of very similar to the Ice Planet Barbarian series, where you can literally just read these books very quickly. And with my timing, it's just easier for me to read. I'm also going to keep on reading Arden Long books because there's another one that's coming that is like it's called something Turned by an Omega. It's an Omega series, and I know you wanted to get more into that series, so I want to read that really bad. But the
But
book.
also, for people who have read the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey, it's similar to that in that the Mindfuck series is the same way. It's like different books, but you can get it in one big series because I think they initially were published as novellas, and then they just merged them into one.
Yeah.
So, but with this one, with the audiobook, all of the audiobooks are in one. With the Mindfuck series, you have to get each separate. Thingy. But yeah, anyway, I just
So the
wanted to
books
give that.
are Turned by a Teammate, Caged by a Teammate, Trained by my teammate, Marked by my teammate, Kissed by my teammate, Kept by my teammate. So I'll go over the trigger warnings. This is a very BDSM centered book. So it includes impact play, orgasm denial, a chastity cage left on for an extended time, butt plug left for an extended time, vibrators used for an extended time, gags, blindfolds, dildos, choking, primal play, public edging, humiliation, stretching, public sex, BDM. There is a little bit of BDSM malpractice in the beginning, with a lack of aftercare. It improves from part 2. A lot of improvement on the malpractice and toxic relationship part of it. But it is very solved very quicker than I thought, and in a very polite, like, I was very proud of how that was handled. Mild past child abuse, kink shaming, not by the MCs, of course, alcohol consumption, and vomiting. So
And
there's
what?
vomiting. Yeah, you gotta tell people.
Yeah, I forgot that happened because it wasn't
Yeah.
too bad.
Yep. So we'll start with Turned by my teammate, where you get basically an introduction to the two characters, Malcolm and Nora. Basically, you kind of, like I said, this is a very short thing. They go between both. And since you did it through audiobook, I'll start with that first because I always acted in, and you're already done talking about it, so I want to get more in depth. How was the audiobook for this series? Like actors
Oh,
and
I
everything.
loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. Tell me.
I have such a preference for like romance audiobooks now
Yeah.
because like the guys are so like cheeky. Like especially in God of Fury. That's why I was telling you you need to listen to the God of Fury audiobook because it's so cheeky. But I North has a southern accent. I don't
Oh,
because they don't talk about where he's from. So he
no.
has a southern accent.
Mm-hmm.
Um and what's Malcolm
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. He has like a regular accent, just a general American accent.
Who would play her? Who would play her? Who would play her if you had to like compare?
Malcolm?
Yeah, who would it sound like?
No. I was gonna say Chris Evans, but Chris Evans has a very Boston accent.
I don't know how to say yes. I don't like it. Love me some Evans.
Oh, well, he's British, but like
You said he has.
vibe. Oh, I was talking about Malcolm. Malcolm has a regular American accent,
Oh, the
but
Oh yes, got it.
But I think the person who could portray him really well would be well, he's probably a little too old, but Tom Hiddleston,
Yeah.
I think would do Malcolm's character really well. Um, although they are a football player, but they're not thick. They're both super lean. Because I was gonna say Tom Hardy
I
would be
meant just
good
voice.
too.
I just meant voice wise.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Voice wise, I don't know.
You don't know what his voice sounds like?
It just sounds like a generic, like kind of deep.
There's no voice twin.
Uh, not that I can think of off the top of my head.
That's fine. Okay. Um.
Sorry.
Okay. It's okay. So we're introduced to the character, and basically, the introduction is kind
It's insane.
of, it throws you in, right? So basically, Malcolm is in the field, like jerking it, pretty much.
Eating his meat,
Yeah,
okay? In the middle of a football field.
I'm still.
That is the first note that I have.
By the way,
Why the fuck is this man jerking off in the middle of a football field?
I also forgot to preface this by saying, guys, if you can't tell, I'm not at home.
Oh.
My old office at work that I used to work for when I worked in the office more for my dispatch shift. So we're not we're not at home. But yes, jerking it in the middle of the field. And
Middle of the football field.
that's the intro. And it is very detailed. Detailed. And he's thinking about North when he's doing this.
And
And
he's doing it so aggressively. Like, he talks about it, how aggressively he's doing it. Like, how you don't give yourself rug burn, my guy? Like,
I don't know. But we already get the idea just from like Malcolm's point of view that North is like the golden retriever, like puppy eyes, like golden boy. And these people are in college, by the way, because we did mention football. Let me preface that by saying
yeah,
they're
college
not
football.
a school. No, we're not doing that. This is college boys. They're old. They're like in their. I'll look them.
They're at least 21
They're
because they all go to a
college.
bar and drink.
Yeah. So, um, so he's jacking it, and of course North is like coming in, and he starts seeing him, like right, and he's like, oh no, he's kind of frozen, and he's just basically like, and mind you, at this point, North is straight. Listen, straight. Straight. Malcolm is not, but North is straight. And the first thing he's saying as he's watching him do it is just being like, calling him a sex god. Like, basically. He does. Where is it at? I know I have.
Yeah.
He's just basically like, oh my god. Like, and he's talking about, he's watching him puppet. And he's also explaining him that it's like aggressive as well. He's like the image of
Yeah.
animal. And like, he starts getting hurt. And so then, like, he should leave, but he starts trying to jerk. He jerks it a little bit. Jerks it. Jerks it. And then he starts filming it. He starts filming it, too.
No, I'm laughing because I feel like you just like saying jerks it. Oh,
Oh,
we are 8 years old.
oh. So then,
Oh,
like, what makes me mad, they keep on going between the narratives. And, like, the chapters for these things are also very short. So,
very
like,
short.
narratives very quickly. And so, like, one moment he's like, oh no, he's like, I'm filming. And then, like, Malcolm's like, is there somebody there? And then you switch over, and North's having this fantasy about, like, him handcuffing him and, like, going at it. And then he just wakes up. And you're like, wait, did he? You're like, no, that happened. Not the handcuff part, but you definitely saw him and you faked him. You, like,
You
filmed.
definitely filmed it.
You definitely filmed it. Like, and then he's just like, oh God, I'm straight. I gotta think about Becky, this girl that I've had in. And what got me, I laughed so hard because it reminds me of the way Stephen King writes with certain, like, in the 60s. And he's like, shit, come on, Becky's nice. It's like,
He was like, Becky's a nice girl. She has
Yeah,
nice.
he's still
He's
doing
like, she showed me her boobs one time.
it. Let's do this. And so, of course, in the fashion of just like gay awakening, it goes from one to the other, you know. But then he sees him like at school after everything, and apparently he's had a semi all day just thinking about this fantasy. And he finally sees him, and he's just like freaking out. It's just so funny. We get no context to this other than he's like, this guy hates me, and then I see him jerking it, and suddenly like I've lost my.
Now I'm fucking obsessed with him. But it's also so funny because like at this point they're like in the locker room or whatever. And he's like, I saw him and I couldn't take it anymore. And I took my phone into the fucking shower or wherever he was. And he starts jerking off in there.
That's what
Like,
I was about to say. I was about to put that in there because there's a part in there before that where he's just like, I have notes of the funny things that North says because it was just it tickled my funny bone every time he would say certain things. And one of the things he was saying was like, where is it? When he's talking about, like you said, when he gets the video and stuff, he's like, I got to take care of this monster in my pants and get my head in the game, like, or I'm
yeah,
first guy that tackles me. Like, what
yeah.
the fuck, dude? This is Troy Bolton. Like,
It's, it's, what's his name? The curly haired
poor
guy?
character. Yeah,
Corbin Blue and Sharpay's brother.
I know. If Chad was on the football team, 100.
Yes, Chad and
Ryan, Ryan.
yes, yeah.
I still can't get over the freaking what's his name? Not Jenny Ortega. What's his name?
Kenny Ortega.
Kenny Ortega. Kenny Ortega did that scene in the second movie, the High School Musical movie, where he made them switch
Yes.
clothes. I was
Yes.
doing.
I was just gonna say, I'm like,
You know,
there's a fan theory that they're gay
no,
and they
it's
switch clothes because
fact in my mind.
absolutely. Why did they change clothes? That doesn't make sense.
But you're right, and he's just like, this is where he's having the. I'm gonna tell you right now with this book, it's so I think it's so delightful because we get into like all the tropes so fast and quick that you don't
Yeah,
stage to where it's annoying, because that's what annoys me when it goes on and on and on about like the whole like, am I this, am I that, am I this and that, and this book does not do that.
I really, I really liked that he was like, it was, um, he was like, I'm straight, but like, as soon as he realized, like, for real, that he liked this dude, he was like, all right, whatever.
I
Like,
like
it wasn't, he didn't like shame himself. He didn't do like it just, and I really appreciated that turmoil was not a part of it. And they just got like the other stuff that they dealt with was separate from like, I'm gay, which is like different from God of Fury.
yeah, I mean they did deal with the outside world of it, but it wasn't as intense, and
Yeah.
it hyper focused in the fact of like, we'll get to the other part later, so I don't want to spoil that part, the rest of the part of it. um
Yeah.
but yeah, so first book he's doing that to the video, and of course Malcolm catches him because like, what did you think you were gonna do getting caught?
I
Like,
literally, because what one of my notes is, now I knew North was going to get caught right here. But my jaw is still on the floor because this is so embarrassing. Because he literally caught him with his cock in his hand in the video. And he could hear it. So he knew that it was him.
well,
Even before he saw the video.
my theory was, my theory is Malcolm knew what was going on, and because again, when he ran into North the first time,
Yeah.
he had an erection, and you looked down, and he was like, Malcolm's not stupid.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he took a video of me, and he goes, no, someone sent it to me, and he's like, who? He goes, I don't know. You don't know who sent it to you? And
North. He's so
what got,
fucking for real right now.
what got me was at that moment, he's just like, and it's like, yeah, and he's just like, he goes to put it away, and he goes, did I tell you to stop?
Yeah, I was like, Okay.
Okay. So, and he tells him basically, they go through and he's basically guiding him to. He basically edges him. He doesn't let him. He makes him stop. And then the whole premonition comes to play with the handcuffs. Oh, because he did see the handcuffs when it was going on. That's why he had a fantasy about the handcuffs.
He saw the handcuffs in his bag when he started filming.
Right.
Because the bag fell.
1 second.
Okay. But, no, I was like, this is so embarrassing. And then the next note is, well, this became hot really quickly.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. It literally just took a turn. Like, the whole thing just took a turn as soon as he was just like, did I tell you to stop? Did I tell you to stop?
Yeah.
That would have. I wouldn't have been. I'm gonna tell you right now. I would have had.
Yeah, that would have been my undoing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Would have been my undoing.
I mean, and it was the beginning of the thing, and basically he leaves him there. And they go to practice, and of course the whole practice is awful because he can't focus, and he's just basically trying to play it off.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get him to have a drink or whatever, and so they go like get a drink or whatever afterwards, and we don't. Basically, Malcolm messages him and is just like, "I want to finish what we started. Come to my place tomorrow." And like, I left you something in your little baggie, in your bag. You better use it, and don't stop until I see you. But don't touch yourself. Yep. And so he has to go to the bathroom, and he goes in the restroom, and he goes and gets his bag, and he puts the bag inside, and he tells me to use it. And you know what it is? Dun dun dun. What? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's so amazing.
I loved this book so much.
I know you do, because you messaged me while we're reading that exact
I
statement.
know.
You
I'm like
said,
crying right now. This is so funny.
you messaged me, and I quote, "I love this fucking book. Thank you for suggesting this."
Yeah.
This was the book, honestly, y'all. This was the book we both needed to get out of our funk. Like, as soon as we both read that, we were like, everything is right in the
First
world.
of all, I
Between
have
the
a note in here. I've never regretted listening to an audiobook at work so hard before because this book had me squirming in my fucking chair all day consistently. I was just like
I,
the whole
I was doing the little this. I could, and
yeah.
they're like, and the pilot come in, and they're like, it's hot in here, isn't it? I was like, yep, it is. So, yeah, and he's like, no, I can't put it up here. I play football, and I study, and I flirt with girls, and I'm pretty vanilla. And I quote, this is what he put. He said, "I don't shove butt plugs up in my fucking ass." And so then, but what's funny is he says that, and he's like, "It must be kind of trick. It's a trick." This is like all the things I expected. This was like weird. He's like he's like freaking out about it, and then he's like looking at it on the bed, and he's just glaring at it, and just like, typical golden retriever behavior, just like
Yeah.
sitting here on the bed, and he's having his little gay little panic or whatever, and he's like, maybe I'm just bored and horny, like. Mind you, he's already said this is the hottest thing he's ever masturbated to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's already admitted this man's a sex god. Like, he's just having all these gay thoughts, and it's just like, nope, no. So then it's so funny because he's like, I'm vanilla, but he has such a sub mentality that he's like, he starts to go touch it, and he's just like, wait, Malcolm told me not to touch myself.
Yes. That okay. So one of the other notes I have is like it's what I wanted to say was that it's crazy that Malcolm immediately starts doming North. But as a brat and a sub, you give off a certain aura,
Mm.
and
Oh,
so they know.
don't I fucking know it. Well, North isn't
They
technically.
just know.
Oh, I take that back. Never mind. Never mind. We
No, he is
at the
absolutely a brat.
well, he
No,
is,
yeah,
but
at the beginning he's not,
he is not. But
but
we
he becomes one very quickly.
learns really quickly.
I was
Um,
very proud of him.
I was too. We'll get that. We're still in the first book. Okay, so or we might. Yeah, I think that we're still in the first book. So he goes back and he's just like, basically he tries to throw it away, and then he takes it back out the trash because he's such a stupid. He's such a stupid. I love him so much. And then he just, of course, because he's a brat, he's gonna go ahead and put it up his butt. Like, of course he's gonna put it up his butt. Why wouldn't he put it up his butt? And so then he's like sitting there and he's thinking and he's like calling him a Mal in his head and he's like, oh, when did that happen? And like it turns him off even more. And then he's just like, oh, now I have no control over it, I guess. This is my life now.
Crazy.
It's so good, y'all. Like we're not even exaggerating. Chapter 4, technically, of just chapter 4, and these chapters are like maybe 4 or 5 paragraphs. They're not long, but they're so detailed.
Yeah,
They're so detailed. They're so detailed, and it's just so good. It's so good, and it's so funny. Like it's so North is so funny.
it's a really nice marriage of comedy and like the dark stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
also like such a good marriage of smut and plot. Even though these books are not super long,
Mm-hmm.
you get a good amount of like
Plot.
actual plot and like backstory for both of them. Well, more so Malcolm,
Yes,
um but that I feel like that's just more because Malcolm has more trauma in his past than North does. But
and you're
like,
really North coming to being the other side, you know.
yeah,
And again, it was a great too because it was one of those again it was one of the things where you have the quote unquote straight person thankfully just didn't have trauma for once. Like they didn't have to deal with like a football dad. They didn't have to deal with like
yeah.
that was super nice.
And I was surprised because North is in the audiobook, he has a southern accent. So I was very much expecting there to be a lot of internalized homophobia about it because that's really common here. And so I was grateful that there wasn't. I think they probably just differentiate between accents because it's one voice actor who
Uh,
does both voices.
and don't get me wrong, I do believe you need representation and the truth of how things actually happen. But can we just be as queer women, we have so much we can say about the experience of queer males. But I don't
Hmm.
know them, but I am so tired of seeing the sick narrative, the Glee narrative. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The Glee narrative where you have like the character that's in the closet and just bullies another one and stuff like that. I'm just so like, I get it.
yeah,
I get it. Like you need to have those stories because stories do exist. But like, I think that's why Heartstopper was so refreshing for a lot of people. Was because you saw a different intake because like there's lots of people who are queer that live lives that don't revolve around trauma. And you just want to
yeah,
relate other parts of their lives, other trauma that they have that don't have to deal with their sexuality.
yeah,
But so Malcolm's in full dom mode. Like he's like he's at this point where he's like this man. He's a cutie. He's like Nort's a cutie. Nort's a little cutie. Like he always describes him as just like big blue eyes, like just cutie. Even
yeah,
when being like dirty things, he's like he calls him Puppy Jock, and he's just like he's a cute. Noises makes you cute. It's so good. It just makes me smile. It's just like
yeah,
I like that type of relationship. It's like you think I'm cute and you think I'm sexy. Like that's cute.
yeah.
I like I like it.
I
Oh,
like it. I like it a lot.
so then we find out it vibrates. Of course, it vibrates.
My note is literally all caps. A vibrating butt plug. Oh,
It's
poor
great.
North.
Ooh. Anyway, so then he's like messing with him through the entire day, of course, because why would you just not? Because they have classes together. And
Yeah.
and
Oh my god. And every time he turns it on, North has this big reaction, like he like jumps up or screams, and I'm like, I, like this is how you know that he's like truly vanilla, because if you aren't, you know how to school your reactions to things like this in public. But North did not.
he's just he's a little brain.
Yeah.
He's a little brain. He's
Yeah.
just
That was
a
baby.
baby. Oh God, Jesus. Anyways, so basically the whole thing is he's just like, you want me to take you to the nurse's office? He's like, no, blah, blah, blah. He's freaking out, and of course, like Malcolm's like, I'll see you later, and so he goes to his house, and he pulls up, and he's basically just like being a shithead, of course, because he's like, did you keep it in? And he's like, yes, dude, yes. You know I kept it and you watched. He's like, did you check it? And he's like, no.
Literally.
And it just goes back and forth, and basically they kind of like have a little small talk, and they're like, of course you have to have the boundary of your safe word, and the safe word, of course, is baseball.
Yeah. Baseball. Of course it's baseball. Of course that's what we're talking about right now. After I just dealt with that fucking baseball umpire.
Yeah. Oh shit! I didn't even do the correlation there. So what like? So what are some safe words you've had before?
Greens,
Well,
like
besides,
collard greens. Not like green the color, green like collard greens.
that's ears are hurting right now.
because because he asked me what's something that you don't like a food that you don't
Oh,
like, and I don't like collard greens.
I did the same thing because mine is bananas. My go-to is bananas.
Oh,
I don't like bananas. Bananas are disgusting,
yeah,
and it would take me out of it. Bananas.
that's crazy. I just made a big ass loaf of banana bread.
Banana bread isn't banana. The banana, the
No,
actual,
but there's like 4 bananas in it.
is it like cut up chunks of banana?
No, you mash it up.
That's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like the idea of eating a banana is just disgusting to me.
Oh,
The
okay.
everything and the way it's hard but mushy at the same time just doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah. So basically they keep on going, and of course Nort's a little like golden retriever, so like, he tries to kiss him, and of course this is the only trope I don't like where they're like, don't kiss me.
Yeah, I hate that. Because my thing is like, you kissing is too intimate for you. Your dick is inside my asshole. What are you talking about right now? You spit into my ass. What?
Yeah, pretty
You
much.
don't want to kiss me?
Pretty
You put
much.
my dick in your mouth, but you don't want to kiss me? Boys are dumb.
Boys are super fucking dumb. So basically he kind of like I said, this is where the trigger warning for the BDSM malpractice kind of comes into play. Not that it's any
Yeah.
not that it's anything like, haunting Adeline kind of level or
No,
anything.
it's not terrible.
No,
But if I had experienced it, I would have had the same reaction that North did.
yeah. And basically, when we say that, it's like it's all consensual. It's all consensual. It's just he was so hard the first time without setting any limits of like I said, they had a safe word. The problem was the fact
He
that
didn't
like
set expectations.
they didn't have any expectations or talk, so like using like degrading language. Like, it's the first time you don't do, if you're not into that kind of community, you don't just go straight out the gate with a new partner doing that kind of thing. It always should be
Yeah,
discussed. Like, you don't just sit there and slap a partner out of nowhere. They don't do that, by the way, in the scene. They don't do that. But you don't edge, you don't do all kinds of stuff. Like, you definitely don't fucking come down someone's throat, like, and make them do certain things, like, without discussing. So,
agreed.
and basically, because at the beginning, it's more of just, like, he's making Nort suck him off. And then Malcolm's just like, why did you come here? And he's like, I can't stop thinking about you. And they go on, this question gets answered multiple times, asked multiple times, and it changes throughout the book, which was a nice callback. But
Yeah.
here he's just like, he asked him, he's one fucking blah, 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 blah. And basically, they fuck for the first time. And it was not, it wasn't very romantic, to say the least.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't
And
like
there was no aftercare.
that's what the male practice is mostly about.
Yeah.
Like, that. Like, there was communication and stuff. No aftercare. And afterwards, Malcolm's feeling like calm about it, but he's like, it's a terrible idea, but everything was great. But like, I'm like, he's mine. He's mine. He's mine. Mine. So that ends the first book. That's our first intro book. Like, that's all that happens in the first book.
No, I guess that happens in book 2. I didn't separate my notes by book because I was at work and I'm not supposed to be on my phone at work, so I was like making my notes really quickly.
I have a cheat.
No, but I want to ask about something, but I also don't want to spoil it for the listener, so I'll just wait until you bring it up.
Yeah, like I
but
said,
it's my next note.
Well, the good thing about this is also a good thing too. The books is so small that I have the notes and then I have the actual book that I'm actually scanning between both so I can see, and it's literally to go through each chapter. So during that whole thing, that's when the last book, he puts the cock cage on him.
Oh yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, that happens.
Talking about. Okay.
That happens in the first book because in the intro to the second book, the first sentence is literally, the cock cage is uncomfortable.
And my note on this was a cock cage because
a few moments later, a few minutes later, a few inches later, 12 seconds later, 3 days later.
I was shifting the thing and it stopped. It's recording again. You're good. It just stopped.
Okay.
You're good though. Anyways.
Yeah, I was like, a cock cage. Because my flabbers were gasted. Okay, I was not anticipating that it was gonna be like this. Like, and I will say, I do like the things that were touched on in this book in terms of like kink and BDSM, because I feel like a lot of dark romances kind of well, maybe it's just the stuff that I read because I know what I like, but they kind of stick to the same things in terms of like kinks. Like, it's usually like a daddy kink or a DS relationship, impact play, breath play, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this has all of that, but it also has other things too, and I thought that was kind of nice because I haven't read a lot of books that deal with like fucking delayed orgasms like to this extent.
Yeah.
Or exhibitionism.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about this story is it's very what's the word? It's very neutral on time era. It's very neutral
Yeah.
There's no indication of the time period this is. There's no indication of location. It's literally like just focusing on the story, and
Yeah.
but you don't really get like, even with the language and everything else like this. This could be set in the 90s. This could be set in. It's obviously set more than 90s. It's not an 80 language, but it could be set in the 90s. It could be set till now. Like,
The only thing that is indicative that it's not the 90s is that they have cell phones.
there's cell phones in the 90s.
Yeah, but not the way that they were
Oh, true.
using them in.
So it'd be like 2000s. So it's at least 2000s.
Yeah.
But there's no indicative thing of just like, they don't mention TikTok, they don't mention television stuff, they don't mention stuff
Yeah.
or any popular pop culture things.
Yeah.
None at all. Which is actually,
It's very like isolated in its own little bubble.
And I like that because, and I didn't even think about that until after I read the story, and I was just like, there was none of that, because it really just focuses on the story and the characters themselves, which I kind of really, this book is just really refreshing in general with that kind of.
Yeah. The only thing that made me think about like the time period was there was a part where somebody was drunk and they walked to wherever they were staying instead of taking an Uber, and I was like, do they not have like Uber? And later I realized that they did, but I guess he just didn't want to use it. But um but yeah, I think it was kind of nice that it took me until that point, because that happens kind of late in the series. It was nice that it took until that point for me to be like, oh, what in the fuck is this happening?
Yeah. True. But I think that's also why North was a little bit more accepting of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were frozen.
What?
You're frozen for just a second.
Oh.
But I also think that's also why, with the setting being in a college, and like there's not really much any outside influence of them going anywhere or doing anything, and it's just mostly focused on the kids. Is also why he doesn't freak out as much, because when you're exposed to college environment, like no matter if you're in the South, you're going to be in like exposed to gay people and the environment, stuff like that. So it's not especially if you're in your second or third year of college, even like
Yeah.
with through parties and stuff, is going to be exposed to queerness.
Yeah.
I don't think, and of course North is not like a homophobic character at all.
Not at all.
That's also, like I said, a nice trope that he's not involved in. And in the statement, it's just like, again, in the beginning of this chapter, he's just like, you kind of know that he has been around gay people or has some.
Yeah.
Because he says, I love him so fucking much. He's like, so basically, this is the paragraph. He's like, last night, Malcolm handcuffed me and fucked my brains out. My ass is still throbbing from his punishments. He was rough and bending, and let's just get this straight right now. I'm not gay, never have been, but I loved every goddamn second of it. Like, desperate. No, this is the sentence. This is the sentence that got me.
Yeah.
Like, desperate for more, eyes rolling back, harder, daddy. I loved it. Unless you know. Okay, I'm just like, okay, you've been around gay people, because straight people don't, straight cis.
Yeah, you don't think that.
They don't think that or know about that kind of thing. So
Right.
So that's where I was just like, yeah, you've been exposed. Like, you're nice. You're not. And of course, they're going back and forth, and Malcolm's checking in on him with about seeing if it's on, and they're kind of doing the back and forth thing that everyone loves to do in text and romance novels. And Malcolm's just like egging him on, and he put his name as Psycho in his phone, which was kind of funny. And of course, North is loving it, even though he's acting like he's not loving it. And there's a part in there where they kind of like meet up at some point, not on purpose, but they end up meeting up. And he's like, if you want to stop this, you can. You can just say the safe word. And he just rolls his eyes and says no.
Yeah.
Like a little brat.
I have a note here that says, "Oh North, my bratty twin, I love you so."
He did, because this was bratty. He just was like, I'm straight. And then he's just like, are you saying the safe word? No.
Right.
Episode of Cops that I love to quote, and I instantly thought about it here because the cops are arresting like this old guy, and he's obviously on the influence. And they're like, sir, are you on like methamphetamine? He's like, no. And they keep on listing off these drugs. He's like, no, 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 no. And they're like, did you get high? When's the last time you got high? He goes, today.
Stupid ass.
That's how this conversation with North was. Just like, no, no, no. Yeah, obviously. Like, that's how it was. And he goes, and he's like, well, if you don't want out, like, are you wearing it? And he goes, no. And he goes, why not? And in his brain, he's just like, because you didn't tell me to put it back in.
Yeah, I was like, I think that's when I made that note. I was like, North, please.
He's a little cutie. I love him.
And
then
there is a part where I think this happens like where North sort of sets a boundary because after the first time that they fucked, like we said, there was no aftercare, and North really felt like kind of used and whatever, like in a not fun way. And so he was like, I don't want to do that again. I don't want, like, if we're gonna do this, like, you can't treat me like that. And then they, am I skipping ahead from where you were?
a little bit, but not by much.
Oh, sorry. Because there's also a moment where, they establish the boundaries of that, and basically, Malcolm is like, I get to control everything that you do.
Yeah, because you're mine.
And then they have a very sexy "if I catch you, I fuck you" moment. And I was very happy about that.
As you should. Hold on. Because for some reason that PDF just decided to shit out on me. Yeah, so it's just so good. Give me just a second. Why are we doing this to me? Now we're in I do not read. Give me just a second.
Okay.
No, I'm not making you donate anything ever.
Something is in my eyeball.
Just give me on where were we at? We're at go away. We're on Cage by Teammate still. Okay. Might have to pause.
Okay.
I'm gonna pause it.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Dude, is he trying to make me watch an ad? 2-1. Okay. Anyways, so I'm gonna see if I can find what you were talking about, the conversation you were talking about. Because not a lot happens between that and that part. So the only thing that happens between the part you're talking about and before is basically North is failing because he's thinking about stupid things.
Yes.
And so he needs help, basically, not being stupid and not thinking. He's not stupid in the fact that, like, mentally stupid. He's just like he can't concentrate, so he's just
Can't focus.
doing stupid stuff. And so he's just like, basically, that's when they're like, because they stopped talking for a minute. Because he's like, the first boundary he sets is just like, I don't know what your fucking problem is, but like, you're not gonna treat me like that. Like, we're done. And then he's like, okay, whatever. And then he like messages him after he feels like he's failing. He's like, hey, by the way, I need that cage just to concentrate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that happens first, and that's the most. Yeah. He's like, and then buy one yourself. He's like, I'm not gonna go buy one myself. Like,
Because then I'll just take it off. Like,
yeah.
I need you to control it.
You need it to study. I'll pay you back. He's like, I don't want your money. So I just found that hilarious. But he's just like, I need to study. And basically they reunite because he's just like, I don't have to give you anything. And they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, blah, 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 blah. And finally he's just like, they're doing the typical, like, I hate you, and then, like, they kiss. And, like, he tells them to on the field again.
Yeah, I was like, y'all are crazy for this because one of you already got caught.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, and, what got me was, like, the whole, like, he calls him the golden boy, and he's like, they're doing it on the field. And just, like, they're, like, enjoying it a lot more than they should be. And then that's when they have the conversation. Okay, there we go. That's when they have the conversation, is after doing it on the field. Because he's like, did I hurt you? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, why did you do that? Punch you? He was making fuck you. He was like, I told you I need to help you concentrate. And he's like, that's when he's like, I want all of you. He's like, I'll do anything, just help me pass. He's like, I do. I'll help you, but you got to give me all of you. And he's like, yeah, you basically have to do what I want, when I want, and I'll reward you. I'm like, you're going to get the best fucking grades you ever had, dude. And he's like, I don't want to do anything illegal. He's like, you won't. I'm like, I'm just going to, like, fuck you, dude. Like, calm down. So then they do their little sub-dom thing where he's like, you have to read this paragraph and, like, memorize things. If you don't, I'm going to, like, I think he said he's going to spank him, maybe, I think. Yeah. Bends over to this and spanks him. And so basically that's when he gives them aftercare for the first time, and he's just like,
He's like, what are you doing?
yeah. And he's like, I'm giving you aftercare because I was stupid enough not to do it the first time. They give him, like, an oatmeal bar and some water, and he's like, see you tomorrow.
So cute.
So cute.
So cute.
So cute. So they do this back and forth for a while where it's like he kind of helps him read, gets caught up, and again, he's a touch-disturbed puppy the entire time about it. And there's even a part where they're like one of the sessions, he's just like, get on your knees and get in front of my crotch, pretty much. And he's just like, North is just like, see, I'm good. I see with my eyes. See how good I am? Oh my god.
North is
He's
a
amazing.
bratty icon.
He is a bratty icon. I love him. He is whatever. He's so good. Oh, stop it. But this is the introduction to, like, Malcolm does have, like, a sex, like, a dungeon. So basically, they're like, he's showing him the room, and they're having their little 50 Shades of Grey moment where he's just like, pick a tool, see how it feels, blah, blah, blah. You know, the whole 50 Shades of Grey moment. And so then, this is one of the things we were talking about that, like, they don't delve into books a lot, is when they talk about, like, the safety when it comes to the ball gags. Because you can't make an auditory safe word with a ball gag. So he tells him, you know, you gotta snap. Which was, again, that was super nice that they, like, that's something you don't see often in books, like, those kind of books that, like, when it comes to that, like, male queer stories anyways. So it was nice.
Yeah, that was something that I learned in this book. I'm not a fan of gagging, so no one will ever be allowed to use a ball gag on me. So I'm gonna have to throw up.
I won't use a ball gag, but I use handkerchiefs.
Maybe, but
I'm just letting you know, that's what I use.
General, I don't, but so I never knew that, like, a snap or like a sound,
Yeah, you have to have a
safe, like a safe sound was a thing, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. And this sex scene lasts for pages and pages and pages, and it's so good and so detailed and so well written. It's this is one of the books I have to recommend to people. I'm just like, this is how, like, scenes should be written, dude. Like, both these books that we chose are just very well written in these categories. Like, it's so Yes. And of course, she calls him a good boy, like compatible with that.
Oh yeah, that is a. I mean, excuse me. I personally like being called a good girl,
Oh, I do too.
but hearing him be called a good boy did something to my brain. I was like, oh,
I like
I
that.
didn't know I needed to hear that. I
I,
like that a lot.
I would definitely like to watch somebody called. Yeah. Anyways, also this is also where North sets his own boundary where he's like, okay, if we're gonna be doing this, and I'm like, anything you want, I want to have one thing for me. Reward system. He's like, what is it? I want to kiss you one time a day, anytime I want. One time though. He goes, I guess it's part of your reward system. I guess like you're killing me, Smalls, but whatever. So he agrees, and then that's the end of the second book. The next book is Trained by My Teammate.
Yeah, he had his ass trained.
Okay, just warning you, he's vacuuming now, so he's right outside the door. So it starts out with Malcolm, and at this point, like, North is staying the night at Malcolm's house a decent amount. Because now what they like to do, which it's funny that this book has it and the other book has it, like they go on runs, but this makes sense because they're football players. But he makes runs in the morning and eat protein drinks. And so part of the idea is that he's trying to make North like healthier, which was most Doms do anyways. But even though North is a football player, he doesn't take really good care of himself regardless.
No, he eats a lot of shit.
And he smokes. Which we learn later, not in this book, I don't think. But they're pretty much. Oh, this is where they do the the bird swap spitting. Not really like that. Yeah, as we like.
Oh my god.
This is what we like to call it here on the channel: the bird swap spitting. It's with saliva, but like that's what it's called. And he calls him a good boy again. And they do it in the park.
For the cum swap,
Mm-hmm.
I literally, in caps, the cum swap. Jesus Christ.
Oh
my lord.
This is also where we get a lot more of North being a brat because like they're fucking in the park and like after they're done and because Malcolm is having too much fun with this, like he's calling him, he's like, this is what you for being a brat, like he's like making him rubbing up against his cage and a bunch of other shit. And so as soon as he gets off, he's like, next time I tell you to, and then North just cuts him off and takes his one kiss for the day. I was like, you're a trade kid, you're learning the trade.
Yeah.
And so he does it, he steals it, and he's like, get back to the house. He says, go back to the house. And he's like, you know what, if you're gonna act like a brat, like shower off, I want you clean naked, wear your goddamn collar. The first 3 books are arguably a lot more smut than plot. Arguably. Yeah. But it's just so you can get in the dynamics of the BDS. Oh, damn it. My phone died.
No.
I'm trying. I had to plug in my.
Well, it's okay.
So basically, again, they dive into more BDSM stuff at his house, and this is where the main cum swap thing happens. And then where is this one? Yeah, it's just another sex. It's a lot of spanking in this one. And again, it's just a lot of delving into their whole dynamic up until like he's like, okay, like you're mine now. You can't be dressing like that. We gotta take care of you now. Mm-hmm. So this is when they go to the mall. Like, this is the series they go in the mall. And so he gives him a credit card, and he's like, what's this for? You can buy things, idiot. Like, and he gets cheeky. North gets so cheeky in this, and I love it because he's just like, it's all food. You put it in your mouth. And then he's like, because they're at the mall, and North's like, okay, I'll take the punishment. I'm eating these fucking cheese fries and these onion rings, and I'm eating. He goes, fine.
And that's something that I fucking would have done. I wouldn't have even said I'll take the punishment. I would have just been like,
Yep.
now what, bitch? Like,
I'm reading this part too again because he goes,
asshole.
For a minute he looks like, because this was taken from Malcolm's point of view. He goes, For a minute he looks like he's considering his options, and slowly, deliberately looking in my eyes, he fakes a spoon and scoops a heap of loaded chili dripping with cheese sauce into his mouth, drawing it between his lips like an overly sexual yogurt commercial. Oops. He goes, I pull my lips down. You're going to pay for that when you get. He winks at me and says, okay, daddy.
Yeah.
Get it, North.
That's my boy. I love that.
I love that for him. He's catching on real fast. But the problem is, this is where, the reason why we're mentioning the mall scene, because this is where the whole, like, they're so comfortable that they forget the, like, the outside influences. And the book is basically, like, people starting to notice that, like, him and Mal are together a lot. And one of their friends, Paul, runs into Mal and him Paul's not his friend.
Say Paul isn't his friend. Paul lives in the same dorm as North,
but
and
Paul
is also Malcolm's ex.
Yeah, which Malcolm had a problem with him because he was was it slapping?
Whipping.
He didn't like whipping, and Paul was into it. And
Paul kept trying to push him, which also pissed me off because, like, in a dom-sub relationship, in a kink relationship in general, you set boundaries and that's it. Like, if somebody wants to change their boundaries, that's different, but you allow that person to bring that up. If that person set a boundary or a hard limit, that's it. You don't push them on it. That's so disrespectful. Where did you go? I cannot hear ya. Oh. Oh, you know what? I feel like her phone died.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, I think your phone died.
This is too hot for my phone to handle. This whole conversation. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna tuck you in my lunch. Maybe that'll help. Anyways, that's like that.
It's still recording.
I know. I'll edit. It's fine. There's not that I can edit and cut all day long. It's just when we have auditory problems that makes it a bitch. You're doing great. If we have to pause a million times, that's not a problem. But there is one little detail that did, like, irk my soul. Didn't irk my soul, but I'm just like, come on, we don't have to keep on mentioning this. And I get it's cute. It does get its purpose. But this is the first time we learn that North has an allergy. And he leaves his fucking EpiPen at home.
Yeah, that was crazy.
They mentioned this fucking EpiPen like multiple fucking times. And it's like, he gets pissed off about these EpiPens so much. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, dude. Not that big.
Well, but my thing is, the thing that I thought was, like, ironic was that he was like, what are the chances of me getting stung by a wasp or whatever? And it's like, you literally almost just did, so what are you talking about?
I mean, they never leave campus, I guess, and it's not that prevalent, so I guess. Like, I don't run into wasps that often either, so I guess I get it.
Oh, I do.
I don't. So maybe it's a regional thing. Maybe we don't know. But it's not enough to where he, like, I agree, I should have an EpiPen at all times, but, like, it being a prime storyline in this book was like, okay. That's the one thing we didn't need to make a prime storyline, is that this bitch was like, this fucking wasp.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it if it was that fucking story about, if it came up later and you had him in the hospital because he got attacked by wasps. That would have made more sense, but it never comes up again. It just keeps on mentioning the EpiPen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so EpiPen. But I think the whole point was to prove that like Malcolm wants him more than just like for sex. Like, and Malcolm's just like croaking, and he's just like, I care about your well-being, okay? That's why I care if you have a goddamn Epi-pen. Like, I get the point. Like, I get it. We get the storyline. But that's where that book ends, is kind of like opening to the fact that like Malcolm has feelings. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't know. Like, Jesus. Anyway, so we start with Marked by a Teammate. That opens up with North. Because of course they had sex after that. Why would they not?
Right.
Basically, like I said, these books kind of center into the plot of people finding out about them, or surrounding, like, seeing that they're like closer together, and because they start being like, "You want to go to this party?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course I'm gonna come." And he's just like, "Did you earn the right to go to a party?" And he's like, "Dude." So of course he has to claim him and all that other crap, like, of course, because he's like jealous or whatever. Because of course he's like, "You're being a fucking idiot. Like, you agreed to go do this without my permission." Like, so they have a whole game, and they're like, again, they have a game and shit, and this is where things kind of come into perspective, because like, again, now that like his grades have improved, now he has to focus back on doing his football game, and his social life's coming back. Like, and they're like, "When did y'all get so cool?" And all of everything's crashing down, and Becky, who we mentioned in the beginning, like, kisses him because they're off and on boyfriend and girlfriend, and it's just like, of course at the games they're gonna be like, she's a cheerleader, she's gonna kiss him, and of course that sends Malcolm over there.
Oof.
Of course.
Oof.
Yeah.
Because, you know, even though they have this dumb sub relationship, Malcolm makes it really clear, like, I'm not your boyfriend.
Like,
I'm
I care
just
about you, but like,
you can do whatever you want.
like, I care about you because you're mine.
Not romantic.
Yeah. More cum swatting, by the way.
Okay.
More cum swap.
Oh.
Yes.
I think that's my favorite.
It is my favorite. It's my favorite.
I didn't know that. That was not something that I was prepared to learn about myself, but
It's a thing.
it's quite hot.
Actually, I lied. So, basically, in his own way, Malcolm did tell him he liked him during this part. But he's basically saying the same thing you just said. Like, we're not involved, but I do like you and I care about you, but we're not together.
Right.
He doesn't go to the first party. And he's like, "What did Becky say to you when she kissed you?" Like, what is it? He's like, "You don't need to know. Like, you don't like me." Like, whatever. Please go away. He's like, "Well, you did a good job in the game." He's like, "I know I did, bitch." And so that's in my head. He didn't really say that. That's in my head. How North talks. That's North's inner monologue in my head. But he decides, since, you know, Malcolm's being a little bit of a cunt, he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go on a date with Becky.
Since you told me to.
Since you told me to go on a date, because you're not involved. Like, you saw me kiss her, and you're like, you don't care. Go on a date with her. I don't give a shit. So I'm not going on sex shit." But they go on this little date, and this girl, this is another trope I don't like, but I understand it's necessary. The best.
She's so annoying.
That's why I don't like it, because it's genuinely just a girl that likes a guy. But every like queer romance makes the girl that likes this guy like annoying. But she's not really annoying. She just has a false sense of like, this guy likes her and she doesn't know he's queer. Like, it sucks. It's an every trope, and I don't like it. Like,
I guess.
I mean, no, I do find them annoying. I do. I really find them annoying. And when I'm reading the book, I'm like, get off his man. When I'm reading the books, I'm like, get off.
Right. I'm like, Girl, get the fuck
But
on.
in my
Like, this is my
mind,
time to
after I
end.
read the books and I turn back into a girl's girl, I'm like, yeah, it kind of sucked. But then I read the book again, I'm like, fuck you, Becky.
Literally. But also, like, I don't like it because, like, she also, like, wasn't listening to him. She was not
No.
trying to hear anything that he had to say when he was saying, like, oh, like, I don't want this or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
she was, like, pushing herself onto him and he didn't consent to that. And I don't like that.
Yeah, me neither. But that's usually what happens with those kind of girls because they're so used to getting what they want. So when a guy doesn't, they don't know anything other to do with their own sexuality in them because that's what they've been taught. So that's where the girl's girl mind comes in.
Yeah.
But basically, she's just dumb. She's dumb. And she's like, is that a hickey? No, it's not a hickey. Oh,
Right.
looks like a hickey. Are you okay? No, it's a football.
He said, the football hit me in the neck and bruised me.
Pretty much. That's what I'm saying. Oh,
Becky,
hickey.
you're dumb.
You're dumb. So, of course, in true, like, straight 50 Shades of Grey Edward fashion, Malcolm's gonna show up. We all knew he was gonna show up. There was no way he wasn't gonna show up.
Bro, why? He just pulled up on her and he was like staring down at her.
Well, what got me too
I
was
was
like, he's like, he's like, who's that? And he's like, it's my mom. Does your mom always text you this much? And then he shows up. Oh no, he doesn't show up yet because he's just like, she also asks him, like, he's like, when is Becky so observant? She's fucking dumb. And she's like, why are you always with Malcolm? Like, so weird. He, like, killed his uncle or something. Like, he probably just crushed isn't going to go.
Jealous of you.
Like, he followed him home and stabbed him. He, like, stabbed a professor.
And I need you to understand when she said that, I think I was driving. And I literally was like, that's not true.
I know that. You sent that to me, actually.
Crazy person. I did, right?
You sent me a voice note
saying person,
you
but
sent me a
he
voice
would
note.
not do that.
You sent me a voice
He
note
wouldn't.
that made me cackle.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
like, that's not true. He wouldn't do that. He's a psycho. But he's not like that. That pissed me off. That's why I don't like her.
But yeah, like in true like trope fashion, he shows up. And he like takes her into the bathroom. And like they do stuff. But then Paul's there too. So like both their like Becky's are there. Like you got Olivia's Paul and then like Becky, and it's just awful. And they're like, fuck you both.
I don't know who I hate more, Paul or Becky, but it's definitely Paul.
It's Paul.
It's most definitely Paul.
It's Paul.
If Paul was a real person and I ever saw him, I would punch him in the mouth and then in the nuts.
Yeah. So they basically say, both of them basically say peace. Well, no, Malcolm says peace. No, wait, no.
Well, yes, but also before that happens, when he rolls up on them and he's like staring angrily down at Becky, I don't remember what happened, but I guess he like startled North and it caused him to throw the milkshake
on her
everywhere. And so he goes into the bathroom with him. And
no, that's the part I told you about. That's what I told you about. They go in the bathroom and then they run out of Paul when they come out of the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
For the milkshake.
When they go in the bathroom and he's like, what are you doing here? All I could think of was like, there's ice cream all over you. Like on your face, on your shirt. Why have you done nothing to clean it up?
Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. It's funny.
And then, and when they leave, oh yeah, this fucking altercation. Oh, I fucking hate Paul.
Yeah, they have a whole altercation. I'm not even getting into that one. But they basically like, that's where Malcolm basically tells you, like, not in Malcolm's words, but my words. That's my pussy. I like that pussy better. But that's how I perceived what he was saying. That was my translation.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. And then he fucking punches Paul in the fucking face and they leave.
Jesus Christ.
Because Paul also pisses me off for the same reason that he did. Because he was not trying to hear anything that Malcolm was saying. He's like, I don't want you.
Well,
I do not.
damn, that's my pussy.
He's like, but I'm better and blah blah blah. Bro, catch these hands.
All I
That's
can
all
think
you're
about is that
me.
one song. No, I can think about it. That country song.
What song?
The pussy song. The he's riding on my butt, like the way he rides. You never heard that song?
No, but there's another gay cowboy one where he's like, I like having gay sex with my cowboy friends or something like
Oh
that.
my god, no.
I have to find it.
Oh my god. I want to play it because I'm at work, but I'll definitely send it to you later. I listen to that song every time I leave Georgia. We probably will listen to it on the ride.
I'm sure.
So anyways, they both leave, and it goes in trope form. He's still got milkshake all over him, by the way, when they get to his house, and because it even says it. He's basically like, you can't date her. He's like, why? You can't date her. You're mine. You can't date anybody because I said so. I don't like seeing you like after here, there, nor there. And he's like, you're mine. You're never gonna be mine. He goes, I don't care. No, he's like, you can't change the rules. He goes, I don't give a shit. It's a new rule. You're not dating. You're not flirting. You're not kissing anybody. I don't want to see you fucking holding hands with this dumb bitch. And he goes, why not? He goes, you're not my boyfriend. And they basically agree to like do this. He agrees to the rules, but they both have to agree to those rules without being boyfriends, which is stupid. So they belong to each other, but they're not each other's. It's so fucking dumb. And it's just a whole. They're not each other's yet, but they're basically marking each other. And then he tells him to call him Mel, which was like,
yeah, that was so swoony. It was so swoony.
It was. Yeah. Oh, they're still in the bathroom at this point. My bad. Because then they're just like, he's like, I gotta go. And he's like, trying to hold his direction. She's like, where you gotta go? And she's like, football stuff. I gotta go. And that's when that's when they tell Becky off. Because they told Paul off first, went back to the bathroom, did the thing. No, the Paul's still there. So this is like back and forth. Good God. This is just a hot mess. Point being, they finally fucking leave after this. Good God. And, of course, sex scene after sex scene, just the... Whew. They're making it right. And then this is when he's, like, edging him and just making him come more than once. So nice. And then he asks him for more than one a day, and he complies. And he hesitates. And that's the moment we know we're just like, oh, yep. You're in love, buddy. You're in love. You're in love. Because then he gets him a present and gives him the Epi-pens as a present after that. And he asks him basically.
And they won that. Oh no, it wasn't the game. It was the test. So I don't think we're there yet. So I'm gonna shut up.
No, they basically ask about his scar in this chapter. And he doesn't tell him about it yet. He basically asks him about it, and like he spends the night for the first because every time he came over to his house, they would fuck and then he'd leave. But they would spend more time at his house. This is the first time he spent the night. And of course, North and through Golden Boy Retriever fashion is just happy about it, wagging his fucking tail. And he's just like, I'm totally gonna spoon him in his sleep. He said not to cuddle.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. Like I said,
Adorable.
it's adorable. It's so fucking adorable. And that's the end of that book. Then we get kissed by a teammate where you kind of they spend the first night together. And they kind of like I said, this is when they start really spending the night together back and forth, getting back into going into more of the BDSM category where they're basically he ties him up, more of the cage and more of the, the ball game because he likes to be. And he just kind of he finally gets him to come out to a party.
Yes, because he passes his test.
Mm-hmm.
He does well on his test. Oh, I think he was if you get in the top
Mm-hmm.
26% or something,
Take a reward
then
if they want to hit him to the bar
you
crawl.
get to pick your reward.
Yep, that's the
And he picked that he would come out with them with the football team to their social event.
And he lost that bet because he didn't think it was gonna happen.
And
Mm-hmm.
it was a Halloween party, so they had to dress up like cowboys.
Because by his choice. Out of all the things North could have picked, maybe
No, I would
they gave him
also
some
choose
accent. Maybe that's why. We're just gonna say in canon that North loved Brokeback Mountain. Canon. It's probably not factual, but in our minds, canonically speaking, it's a thing.
That's fine.
Yeah. And that's where we also learned that Malcolm is a lightweight.
Yeah. That was honestly so surprising. Although
I liked it.
sort of not. No, I did like that part. But I was just like, bro, like for all of this control, like I mean, obviously, like, and he says that that's why he doesn't like to drink because he doesn't like to lose control.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just surprising how quickly he fucking just become not belligerently drunk. He was fine, but he was like wasted. I truly thought that he was going to like.
You like the cool character who drank him a lot? No, he's a black cat. We have a black cat retriever situation.
No, I just thought that he was going to be like fucking like he was gonna get way more wasted than he did, and it was gonna be like embarrassing.
No,
And it wasn't.
it was cute.
Yeah.
It was canonically cute.
Yeah.
Because he's just talking about how he's cute and just how good they look together and how nice they are. And then
And I really appreciate that like the football team was like, it's weird that he's here, but they were still nice to him. I mean, because they are teammates.
Yeah.
But they were still like generally quite nice to him, and they didn't make him feel like shit being there.
I can't tell why because of the spoiler. So.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So they end up like they got kicked out of. Wait, hold on, I forgot. So before he gets drunk and before they do that, they choose the costumes. By the way, in a costume shop, and they get kicked out of costume shop because they're oh my gosh,
because they was doing the nasty,
and they got kicked out. They got kicked out. So like,
oh, they traumatized those people.
Yeah, so they definitely this is like it's so funny because like the last 4 episodes I was complaining because there wasn't enough sex. I got my sex consistently everywhere
in both books too,
and not even in a way that was exhausting. I was never tired of one scene, not one.
Yeah.
And at the party that basically like you said, he was very.
He was giving him a foot job under the table.
Yeah.
And then they went out like on the balcony or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so that North could smoke a cigarette. He gave him his cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just being nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. It was just great.
They do mention a little bit of Mal's dad when he's drunk. They go into that a little bit, and he kind of tells him like he doesn't go too much into it. He's just like, you know, he gave me the scar, you know that, and he's like, what? He's like, the scar. He basically said, "Happy birthday, sport. See you get stitches." And he's like, "The scar on your back, you did that?" He goes, "Crack." He goes, "Was it an accident?" He goes, "Nope." And that's all we pretty much get. And we kind of infer that his dad whipped him, and that's why he doesn't like whipping, which makes sense.
Yeah, as soon as he said that he didn't like it, I was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this is also the part where North tells Mal that he loves him, and he's like, you don't have to say it back, but I love you. And then Mal, because Mal is so wasted, he just fucking cries, bro, like in his arms, and North just holds him, and I was like, oh my god, you guys are so cute and gay. Like, I just couldn't handle it. It was so cute and sweet.
It was. And then he's like, it's so cute because he's just like, they're together when they get back afterwards, and he's just like, can I have a hug? And I was like, can I have a hug? And he's like, can I have a
Yeah.
hug? And he gives him a hug. And he goes, sorry, I'm so weird. Do you still want to be my boyfriend? And he's like, yeah.
Like, oh my god.
He's like, yeah, I do. And he goes, okay, and you're a fucking hot cowboy. He goes, so are you. You're the ye to my haw. And then he throws up.
Yeah, he really did.
That's the vomit. That's the vomit. But yeah, that scene. That scene got to my heartstrings.
Literally. Honestly, after we talk about this, I need to read this book again.
You do. But he wakes up sober, and then now Mal goes into like what actually happened to him, and basically his mom was like, he had a birthday party that was supposed to be coming up, and his mom was sick. He didn't know how sick because he was a kid, and like he was a kid, he was a bratty little kid, and he didn't realize how bad it was, and he thought she was just gonna get over it and like arrange the party, and he kept on bitching about the party, being like, dude, like, where's my party? Like, where's the planning? Where's all the shit? And like, he threw a tantrum, and basically his dad lost his shit. Because his mom died in the hospital, and he just didn't know.
Yeah.
And the father beat the shit out of him because he was more worried about his birthday. But he was a fucking child. He didn't understand death.
And they didn't tell him anything, which I'm not necessarily faulting them as parents for not telling him because they didn't know how much he could handle.
Yeah.
But you told him absolutely nothing. All you said was, oh, she's sick. You didn't say like, oh, well, this isn't gonna happen because your mom is sick. Like you didn't.
He told her that
process.
he told him that she wasn't gonna come home for a while. He didn't tell her that why. And
right.
why Mal just thought like she's gonna get over it, like throw my birthday party. Yeah, and they never apologized, and he never got over it. And basically Mal's just like, worse shit happens to better people. It's not like it was like none of it was my fault, and like of course North's like, it's not your fault. And basically that's when North drops the I love you. He's like, if you're not fucked, you need therapy. Like some therapy, dude. Like you're fine. And he's just like, Mal's just frozen. And he kind of doesn't say anything about it at first. He just says, he doesn't ever say I love you back. He just kind of accepts North's keeping saying I love you. Which I did like, that he didn't just like lose his shit about it. Like he was surprised, but
yeah, I was afraid that he was gonna like shut down and pull away.
Yeah.
Because at this point there was still like a considerable amount left in the book, so I was like, something's not gonna happen. But it wasn't this. It's not that.
Gotcha. And then basically his dad shows up, of course.
That guy.
Because why wouldn't? And then that's the end of that book. And then we move to Kept by a Teammate. Again, he's like, get out of here. You're not coming to my house. Because they're not at North's house whenever they get back from the party. They're at North's dorm, not Malcolm.
They're at his dorm, yeah.
So he's like, don't come. Like, I'm going to go take care of this myself. And basically, of course it's a shit show. Because why wouldn't it be a shit show? Like, he's like, the dad's like, basically doing the dad homophobic thing. Are you dating me cheerleaders? Like, and of course North doesn't listen, and he shows up. And
thank God.
Yeah, I know. He's just like, yeah. Wait, what did it just do? So they kind of play it off that like they're just friends of her dad, which kind of sucked. But Hazel's like, whatever. You're my boyfriend now. Mal gives in.
Yeah.
As he should.
Because he wanted it.
He wanted it. Like he did. And North is like, so I'm gonna keep on telling you I love you. Like,
you don't have to say it back, but you're gonna know that I love you.
Like, it's a cute thing. And the father doesn't disappear, of course. We wish he would, but he doesn't. Like, he's still hanging out. And so, like, he decides to stay in town. So then they have a game, and, like, Dad's watching the
figure
game.
out.
Huh?
Yeah, he's trying to figure out, like, why he's paying for Malcolm to be going to this school. Like, what's the point? Because that's not where they're from.
What was it again?
The name of the school?
No, why he was paying for him to go to the school, even though.
Oh, just because I don't know why I guess he just picked a school that was far away from home.
Yeah.
It's like across the country, and so that he could get away.
Pretty much. He's a shit parent. He's a shit parent.
Fucking worst.
He's the worst. And there's not a lot that happens. Again, there's a couple sex scenes in between and they're just trying to kind of ignore everything.
But for the most part, when his dad is there, they don't actually have sex because they don't want his dad to find out.
Yeah. I'm trying to see because a lot of this stuff that's I'm going through now is basically just like back and forth. So chapter 8 is when we find out that, like, spoiler, like we said from earlier, the reason why the team was so, like, cool about Mal was just like they kind of guessed and they were already fucking like they're like, dude, we already knew. Like,
yeah,
we just wanted you to be happy, like.
And I thought that was so awesome because you assume that, like, a team full of, like, football bros are gonna be fucking assholes about it.
No, they're like,
but they're like, oh, we can talk about it now because everybody already fucking knew.
you know, this would make more sense. I feel like this would make more sense if this was centered in Canada, but I know it's not centered in Canada, but this would make sense to be a Canadian book. I never looked into it, but it would make sense if it was a Canadian book.
No, I don't. It's unclear where it's located. Initially, I wanted to say, like, California, but it seems like they're in, like, the Northwest a little bit.
Maybe. Not dark joke. Dark jock. I don't know how to spell doc. Been wrong. There's probably not even a thing. No, of course not. Nobody knows where it's actually. Cool. We love that. Anyways, so we get into where'd it go? Where did I go? Oh, it did not start over. Did it start over? Nope, it didn't. Okay, so another kink. We show into the choking scene with the throat and the cock. Yeah. And then he makes him do it in front of the mirror. Oh, you hit all the tropes really nice. All the kinks really nice in this book. Just unfortunately, of course, what we thought was going to happen happens. His dad pretty much walks in because why wouldn't he? Like,
oh yeah. Wait. Oh, so this might be. He walks in, but it's like at least thankfully after they're done fucking. But
they're in the session room, so the stuff's on the.
No, they were upstairs, and the dad comes in and throwing shit around.
Right, because he's into the session room while they're upstairs. That's right.
Yeah. I think though this is the scene where my note, once again, all in caps. He, Mal, held the cum in his mouth and then spit it into North's Asshole.
Yes, because it's literally, I just passed that. I just passed that. I didn't want to go too much of the sex scene because we're already really far in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know, but
No, you're
like,
good. You can bring it up. You definitely can bring it up. I'm just like, I'm just letting you know I did skip over certain parts because I'm just like, we can't go into every single one. But you can definitely go into
if I had not been at work, I would have thrown myself on the floor because, like, and up until this point, this book has been nasty as fuck. Like I said, like I've never regretted listening to an audiobook at work more in my life than with this book, because I was like, I can't, like, it's hot, like, and then I literally, I just remember sitting at my computer and I was just like, uh, okay, so that's what we're doing. Okay. Well, carry on. Continue.
Jesus.
Because that,
No, you can
yes,
talk about.
after they have that sexy ass thing, his dad, Mal's dad comes in and starts throwing shit around and they go investigate what's downstairs. And his dad is like, this is what I've been paying for. Because I guess he looked at his credit card bill and saw,
Yeah, he
like,
knows it.
the stores that he was spending money at.
And basically, he's just like, I'm taking you back. And they're like, no, the fuck you're not. And so they basically, Patrick, his name's Patrick, by the way. Patrick basically takes the money away from the college and like cuts him off. And the college calls him about it, and it's just like a whole damn thing. And just a whole.
North has a confrontation with him
Yeah.
after, like, when with the school.
And that's where I'm at now. Patrick's
like,
leave him.
yeah.
I'll give you money. Leave him.
Yes. How much money will it take for you to leave him alone?
North's like, fuck you, buddy. Fuck you, guy.
Well, he's also like, do you understand how much that would break him if I did that? Like, I would never do that. Do you understand how much that would hurt him? And he was like, he'll get over it. And I don't remember what exactly he said. You have it pulled up, right? So he says,
I'm literally looking at it. You said pretty much the same thing. He's like, do you know how much damage that'll do to him? He'll get over it. It's like, it'll destroy him. He goes, not as much as I would.
yeah,
And then
and North fucking launches into him and fucking pummels him, fucks this man up. Oh, it was so satisfying.
It was
so satisfying because he had been wanting to fuck him up from jump after he learned what Patrick did to him, and he promised Mal that he wouldn't, so he didn't. But motherfucker said that shit under his breath, and he was like, "Oh, no, you're gonna catch these hands."
You're gonna catch these hands, and
he put that man's face in the ground. He fucked him up,
and then he called the cops on him like a little bitch.
Well, it wasn't Patrick that called the cops on it. It was fucking Paul.
It was
fucking Paul.
We hate Paul.
He was like, well, I saw him beating up that man, and I just knew he was bad news, or whatever the fuck he said. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Fucking Paul. That's the last that I have, is just fucking Paul.
Yep. It is fucking Paul. Well, Malcolm figures that out, and basically he goes to face his father, and he tells him he's not leaving, and they go back and forth, and he's like, well, he attacked me. He's like, you fucking deserve it, you bitch. He told him to drop the charges, and pretty much, we learned that, of course, on top of everything that Patrick is, he's also scummy. Like, of course, because why wouldn't he? Like, why wouldn't he just do fraud? Like, he's rich. Why wouldn't he do fraud and things like that? And so he basically blackmails him. He's like, listen, I know you've been like laundering money and taking money from your clients. I'll get the IRS involved, DOJ, the FBI, fuck it. And he's like, do I? These are serious crimes. I can get you fucked up. So he's like, you're gonna keep my apartment. You're gonna stay the fuck away from me. You're gonna drop the charges. You're gonna leave us alone. I'm gonna bring this whole thing
from my fucking school,
and you're gonna never touch me again. And that's kind of how that ends. And as he should. So not only did you get punched by your gay son's boyfriend, you got punched. Like, you got punched financially and spiritually and emotionally by your actual son.
Bitch.
So of course they get him out of jail, because why wouldn't they get him out of jail? And North Face later explains that why he did it. Like, I love him so much. I love him so much. But that's pretty much the end of that little part of it. We start getting more towards like the epilogue of everything. Let me see.
I would have enjoyed seeing an epilogue that was like 10 years down the line.
Me too. Because all we got was basically like the last of them kissing on a game. Like, basically they kiss in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
They kissed in front of the whole.
Why do they call him Alaska? Because remember they called him Alaska. They're not into Alaska. It's just a random.
I don't remember why they called it, because of a song.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's pretty much the that's it. That's our little epilogue we got.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have kept the lights on. You can see me. But yeah. So, what would you rate that book?
10 out of 10, bitch.
10 out of 10. Feel gold. Yes.
I loved that book so much.
Even though we've been feral this entire time, what made you the most feral for it?
The cum swap.
Of course. Yeah.
Or we didn't talk about it, but there's a scene where he's punishing North in like the equipment room or whatever, and he like handcuffs him to the bench with the cock ring, and he has the vibrating butt plug in for like 2 hours. He just makes him come.
Oh, I said short. I said about the edging thing. I just didn't go into detail about it.
Yeah. I loved that.
I was feral over fucking North's thoughts like the whole time. Just North.
Yeah.
Sassy ass thoughts, and of course,
so cheeky.
All the scenes were so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely give it a 10 out of 10. All right, I'm gonna stop recording now. So since we yapped so fucking much, we had to separate this into 2 episodes, and we did not prepare an ending for that because we made that decision afterwards. So thank you all for tuning in for the first part of our book. We're going to be covering the movie Get Out for our next episode.
What a good girl.